Stargate is going to be returning to our screens, but what is it going to look like? And what are the risks of the new series? We want Stargate, not Star Trek, right? Welcome to Sidetrack, your sci-fi TV and movie channel. So I've been talking a lot in past videos about the return of Stargate and how excited I am about getting this TV show back on our screens. But the more I learn about the 2 pilot scripts that are currently being developed and plans by Amazon and MGM to create this Stargate franchise once again to return the sleeping giant of sci-fi to our screens, the more concerned I get. So let's just start off with Brad Wright. A lot of people say, we want Brad Wright back involved in this, or gone. Oh, I'm not watching it. That's it, done. I'm not having it. I'm not really that bothered about Brad Wright coming back or not. I just want the show to be run right. To be honest, if the show comes back and is brilliant, I don't really care who produces it, who writes it, who directs it, who whatever. I just want a good show. And to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of SGU. Even though SG-1 and Stargate Atlantis were 2 of my favourite TV shows probably ever, Stargate Universe just wasn't. I thought it was kind of boring, if I'm 100% honest. Even though I thought Stargate Universe was absolutely beautifully made, I just basically thought it was dull. And obviously Brad Wright was massively involved in that, so I can't really argue that everything he touches is gold. So therefore, I'm not 100% certain I actually want him back involved. I do wonder if new blood might be a good idea. Saying that, if Brad Wright comes back and knocks it out of the park, I don't really care either, and I will swallow my words and apologise to him personally on Twitter. But whoever actually runs the show, there are going to be some risks here, because Stargate does have a bit of an identity. When they bring Stargate back, for me, they do need to bring back some of the humour that they lost in SGU. They do need to bring back that tone that SG-1 and SGA had that SGU lacked. In that I mean, the tone, the sort of cheeky sense of humour that went with it, but also sort of like they was always grounded in an element of realism. That's the main risk I have with this new Stargate series coming along, and why I say I want Stargate, not Star Trek. The problem is, during Stargate SG-1, we went from basically having no alien technology to having the BC-304s at the end, the Daedalus, etc. According to Stargate canon, in 2000 we developed the F-301, a hybrid of gold crashed technology and, reversed engineered technology. 2 years after that we had the F-302, a completely reversed engineered or human built fighter interceptor. A year after that, in 2003, the Prometheus was launched, the BC-303, and it was only 2 years after that that the Daedalus was launched, the first BC-304. Now, these battle cruisers and fighters were generally armed with sort of conventional weapon systems for us. They had railguns, which is actually a technology we have now, so it's not that beyond in our, current capabilities technologically, but we had missiles. The main reason why the F-302s are so effective against Death Gliders is because of our missiles, and they had greater range and we could hit the Death Glider much further out. The Prometheus and the Daedalus main armament were basically vertically launched missile systems and railguns. Now they did have quadria enriched nuclear weapons, which were pretty powerful, but still we were talking about basically taking missiles to a directed energy weapon fight. But within 10 years, don't forget, from the start of SG-1 to the end of SG-1, we've gone from basically nothing to having the BC-304s powered by Asgard shields, Asgard weapon systems, and Asgard engines. We actually had the Asgard new directed energy weapon that they developed for the Wright. This was their most powerful weapon they'd ever developed, and we were mounting them on the BC-304s. All of a sudden, the Tauri had one of the most powerful fleets anywhere. The Asgard were gone, but their weapons that they'd been developing for tens of thousands of years lived on aboard our ships. Our shields were better than anyone else's, our weapons were better than anyone else's. Now that was a massive leap in technology, and obviously then the Asgard left us with their data core, an arc of all of their accumulated knowledge. We've then had another 10, 15, nearly 20 years to work on that technology and to learn as much as we can from the Asgards. Surely by now we'll have launched the BC-305s or even BC-306s. We're going to have developed a far more advanced starship. We're going to potentially be now using directed energy weapon sidearms, rifles. What other technology will we have acquired and become normal? It does look like that from what we know of Brad Wright's pilot and from what we've seen of this mysterious second pilot, please go back and check previous videos, that the Stargate is now no longer a secret. It is out there for the world to know. The opening sequence of the new Stargate pilot is the Stargate sat in the middle of a very large open glass and steel structure that looks almost like an airport. So if the secret's out and the technological advancements have now become too big to hide, what does that mean for the show? Are we going to get Star Trek style sci-fi instead of what we know as Stargate? Is this going to be a lot of starships flying around? Are we going to have like phasers? Are we going to have other aliens running around that are now part of some sort of new empire that the humanity is now forging? SG-1 was always the plucky underdog, fighting against incredible odds. Even when we battled the Ori, that was the same thing. Even though we were far more technologically advanced, we were still fighting an enemy that we could barely even fathom, never mind actually stand up and fight against. But they did. They fought and eventually won. Now the technology is so far advanced, where is that enemy? For example, the Lucian Alliance. They're not really going to be a threat. Even though they have very large numbers of attacks and other Goa'uld technology that they acquired as the Goa'uld collapsed, our ships will kick their ass. It wouldn't really matter how many attacks they had if we've got this Asgard technology. The Asgard had far fewer numbers than the Goa'uld for thousands of years, but they kept the Goa'uld at bay, basically because the Goa'uld shields could not cope with their weapon systems. And the weapon systems we have are better than those. So the Lucian Alliance, even though they have far greater numbers and will have far greater influence in the galaxy than us, would not be able to go toe-to-toe with any of our ships. They could have 3 or 4 attacks. One of our ships would turn up and just put holes through all of them. Bum, 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 bum. And that, for me, is the biggest risk for this new Stargate series. We've acquired too much technology. We've become too advanced. We're no longer the plucky underdog. We're king of the hill. So where is the threat going to come from? Now, I've already told you that it looks like the Anunnaki, or at very least a species that is kind of based on this ancient aliens idea of this first gods, this giants, these Anunnaki, is going to be the inspiration for the villain for the new series. And I wonder whether they might be a partly ascended, or maybe an actually fully ascended, but a returning species, so that we're going to be actually taking on this ascended enemy. Very much like we did against the Ori. But obviously we didn't really go toe-to-toe with the Ori as much as their armies. In this case, we might actually be going toe-to-toe with the actual ancient species. Now, that would be a significant threat, and the technology we have really wouldn't matter at that point. So we would be back to being the plucky underdog, I suppose. Please get into the comments and tell me, what do you think? Is Stargate at risk of becoming the next Star Trek? Is it going to be too advanced? Is it going to be nothing like SG-1, SG-A, SG-U? Is it going to be completely different and therefore not really Stargate anymore? And if you want to become a fully fledged Sci-Trekker, you can join the channel and support us. Hit the join button. And please, like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, hit all the thumbs up, not the thumbs down, that helps nobody. Really, share the video wherever the hell you like. Thanks for watching, and as always, guys, please stay safe. I'll see you next time.